in the class. Now I'll share my screen. Hope you can see my screen now. Is it visible for all of you?
Yes, JP.
Okay, wonderful. So I've also told you yesterday that there is different status on the purchase order. So the different status on purchase orders would normally change according to the situation. So once you create a purchase order, it will be in approved status, and then once you confirm it, it will be in confirmed status. So that's one kind of status we have. The other kind of status we have is when creating a purchase order, it will show the open order status. After receiving all the goods on the purchase order, it will show the status as received. And after invoicing the purchase order, you will see the purchase order as invoiced. So that these are the few things that we have to identify in a purchase order. So now let us try to create a new purchase order again and discuss about different other options we have. In accounts payable, I can see purchase order and all purchase orders here again. So if I click on all purchase orders again, one second, did Shivakumar join? I think. Let me add him. I did called him. So this is the purchase order menu we have. We have two purchase orders created yesterday, and all of them are showing as, so approval status is showing as confirmed and the purchase order status is showing as invoiced. You can see. So I'll create a new purchase order here, which would eventually create purchase order number 3. So click on new. Here I can select the vendor account for which for whom I want to do this PO for. I'll select the same vendor, Maruti Suzuki. One second. So here I can see my address for which the goods has to be delivered. And then I'll select this site and warehouse. I'll select the warehouse, which would automatically select the site. Then I can select the delivery date. If there is any change in the date, like vendor would be delivering on so and so particular date, I can select that date. Then the order type here, purchase type is purchase order. This is key. So other than this, what else I have? So that would be all. So these things are related to supply chain. If there are any, you can add this buyer group and all. But I'm not adding anything as so. So this would be the compulsory things. I'm clicking on OK. So once clicked on OK, purchase order is created. As you can see in the line level, and this is the header level. So now I clicked on, I mean, by default, it shows the line level. If I click on header, it will show the header level. So we'll discuss that part. Before that, normally if I have to select an item for buying from this vendor, what steps I need to follow?
Product name,
So where do I
item number,
select this?
item number in purchase order lines.
Yeah, here I'll select the item number. I'll select the item number cycle to buy from the vendor Maruti Suzuki. Okay.
Quantity,
So then we have to select the quantity, how many quantity we want to buy from the vendor. So I can select 5 quantity. Okay. Then the unit price is defaulted from the item. So if you want, you can change it or you can maintain the same. So now the total amount is 5,000 US dollars. You are buying 5 cycles from this vendor. So this is what we have in the line of the purchase order. What all the details that you want to give. Other than this, I have something else. So let us try to discuss about the different options that are available in the header level menu here. If I click on header, so it does takes a while to load. Still in the line level. Come on. So it loaded now. I can see. I'll just try to collapse all. I'll just right click on this arrow mark and collapse all. So these are the few menu items we have in the header level of purchase order. Go to general. In the general, you can see the details, order number, the vendor name, purchase type is purchase order. In case if you forget to give the purchase type earlier when you are creating the purchase order, you can change it here from journal to purchase order or from purchase order to written order in case if you are doing a written order other than purchase order. And you can see the vendor account that you have selected here, which is eventually your invoice account. So while explaining creating vendor accounts, I told you what is an invoice account means. If you have multiple vendors on the or from the same vendor, if we have multiple suppliers like Tata 1, Tata 2, and if we create one group vendor and give it as invoice account, then you can give it here. I told you while we were creating vendors. In that situation, if this particular vendor account that you have given here is associated to any of your main vendor, so you, in the invoice account feed, you will see that vendor number. Normally, if this is not linked to any other vendor or this is not a subsidiary vendor for any primary vendor. So that is why I see the same number or the same name in the vendor account as well as in the invoice account. In case if it is linked to any other main vendor, so I can see the invoice account in the main vendor, the main vendor in the invoice account field here. Okay, that's one thing to remember. Other than that, you have some details of contact information which you can give here, internet address of the vendor or the email address here. Then you can see this is open order because you did not receive anything yet on this. So it's the status of the order is open order. Right? Document status means none only. The last document such as product receipt or an invoice that was updated for this purchase order. So normally it is none. If you have posted product receipt, it will normally show received, I think. Here. And you can see approval status is approved. Yeah, it is. If it is confirmed, it will show it as confirmed. So budget check is not performed because budgeting is not enabled for this module. One second. Then direct delivery. This option is for intercompany orders in case if you want to buy goods from your own legal entity which is in this particular organization only, then you will use this option of direct delivery. I mean, not for that sake also. In case if there are any orders that you want to deliver to somebody else, suppose that if we want to sell some goods to one particular customer of yours from your business, but you don't have those goods in your company, but one of the company which is here in the list of companies I have is having those goods. So then I'll create one order from that particular company as a direct delivery so that that company will directly deliver goods to my customer who is in this particular company. So for that, there is a set of configuration that has to be done at various levels for creating automatic orders and movement of inventory. So we'll discuss that part if we get some time later about this direct delivery and intercompany orders. Okay, then I can see the storage dimensions here. Reason codes, if there are any, I can give reason codes here. I can give some reference number for the vendor. In case if it is a written order, I can give the RMA number. Normally it will automatically generate in case of RMA, but if you want to manually give any, you can give the RMA number here. So RMA is nothing but this return merchant is authorization number, you can see. Then customer requisition. This is normally the requisition number of the customer or your customer requisition number with the vendor, I think. Not what we give here. So this is pretty much about the basic details that we have in the general menu. So it's all normal details only, like vendor selection as well as the order type and the site and warehouse to which the goods are being delivered. Other than this, we have setup menu. In setup menu, we have few more details. We can select the sales tax group and sales tax group here, and item sales tax group we can select in the line level. So for each item that we buy, the item sales tax group might differ, or you might have different taxes, right? So you can select the sales tax group here. If at all the sales tax group is given as default to the vendor, whenever we create this purchase order for the vendor, that tax group will default here. You can also override it or change it if you want to. Then if there is any tax exemption number for the buying of goods from this vendor, you can give the tax exemption number here. If not, and there is another option of prices include sales tax. If the prices are included within the, I mean, if the sales tax is included within the prices, then you can enable this option. If sales tax is calculated upon the prices of the product, then you can leave it as disabled here. Normally it will be disabled only, but in case there are taxes that are included within the price of the item, then you can enable this one for better calculation. Then you can see the most important one as posting profile. So every document or every journal, invoice journal or payment journal, everywhere you see this option of posting profile. Normally system will by default pick this general posting profile because in parameters we have assigned it as a default posting profile. From there it picks this posting profile as general. If they are using multiple posting profiles and they want to use a different account, they can choose that different posting profile here. Not most of them do that, but they can select anytime. They can change the posting profile if they want to. Here we can see the option. Then I can see the settlement type. So I'm not settling anything actually. So I'll select it as none because I'm just creating a purchase order. The number sequence group, in case if this particular purchase order has to follow a separate number sequence group for vouchers and all, then I can give this number sequence group. I think I have told you this, how this number sequence groups works. You can create a separate number sequence groups for each vendor or a set of vendors or a group of vendors, and you can assign them here in this place. Only people in Italy or few of the countries associated to Italy will use this number sequence groups to maintain unique numbers for each vendor, but it's a little confusing if you maintain different voucher numbers for different vendors for each transaction. It is tough to track. Again, at the end point, if you will lose the pattern. That's one we have. And accounting date is one I have here. Because if I'm doing any accounting on this PO, at for which particular date it has to post, I can give here. Normally the created date will be taken as the accounting date here. You can change it at various levels. For product receipt, you can change the accounting date. For invoice, you can change the accounting date. There is always an option in various levels. For now, I'm leaving it as so. Then I have orderer name here. Who is the orderer? So you can select one of the employee name here in the orderer list. Normally, this employee name is associated to my user ID. That is why system automatically picks this employee name. You can select any other employee if any other employee is ordering it, if at all this username that they logged in with is associated to this employee name, then that employee name will be picked automatically here on the order list. Then you can select the requester, the person who have requested to buy these goods, maybe from the production team or from the IT team or from any other team. So you can give that requester name here. Then language is one important thing we have, English US. So while creating vendor, we have given English US only. So system picks that language. But while creating vendor, if you give any other language, system would eventually pick that particular language here. Also the same for customers. but mostly it will pick the language given for the vendor here. We gave the language for our legal entity as English US only. For vendor also we gave the same. So what happens with this is for printing of invoice or for any other document, it will pick this language only for printing mostly. Or you can also change the language if you want to. So that's one we have. Other than this, we have address field. In this, it shows the address to which the goods has to be delivered. You can see your warehouse number one is the address. Other than this, we have one more address for our legal entity. So I can see that address as well here. But I want my goods to be delivered to the warehouse, so I don't want to select the business address. If I select the business address, it selects the business address here. But if I can also change the delivery address here to warehouse again. So if you have multiple addresses, you can multiple delivery addresses, you can select warehouse one address or warehouse two address to which place goods will be delivered. It will act as a kind of confirmation to which particular place the goods will be delivered. Then I can give some attention information saying that the goods are sensitive. Handle them with care, or the goods are very expensive, keep them in a safe place. So I can give some attention information here if I have to give any to my particular people who would be looking into the PO will try to understand this. There is an attention information for this. Other than this, I have this option delivery. So I'll just close this as well. Under delivery, I have the delivery date, at which date the vendor is going to deliver the goods. So once after he delivers the goods, I can give this confirmed delivery date on which date goods are actually delivered or being delivered. I can select it. Then mode of delivery, you can select by which mode of delivery they are sending the goods, or by truck or any other vehicle, or by shipment. So in which way they are delivering the goods. If there are any delivery terms, you can select here, but all most of them fall into supply chain management. The mode of delivery and what kind of delivery terms that they agree. So everything will normally be recorded in the procurement and sourcing module by the supply chain consultant. So coming to this menu, price and discount, here you can see the currency. Suppose if you are doing trade in a foreign currency, you are buying that cycle or any other product in a foreign currency, you can change this currency here and this will stand as a foreign currency invoice. Normally for foreign currency vendors, if we give foreign currency to them, automatically that foreign currency will appear here as a default currency. In the vendor record, when we creating the vendor record, if we give some currency, that will automatically appear here as a foreign currency. Then I can give a terms of payment like net 10 days, 20 days, net 15 days. So due date will not show up here because we did not post the invoice yet, right? So according to the invoice date we give, due date will be selected from this net 15 days. Then I can give a method of payment through which I can pay this vendor on this particular purchase order invoice or invoices what we create. It's up to you. If you select check means once you are settling it, automatically system picks the method of payment as check. You can change it if you want to at that level in the payment journal level. Again, if you have any payment schedules applicable, you can select one. If you have any cash discount applicable, you can select the cash discount code. So these discount groups or charges groups are mostly related to supply chain only, but however, we will discuss about charges in a further class. So how to apply charges, what are the financial impacts of charges, we'll discuss. Okay. Then something related to supply chain here in the foreign trade. In case for the foreign trade related things, you can give some transaction codes, transports and port number and the statistics procedure. If there are any some such details for the foreign trade, you can give those details. And the most important one is financial dimensions. You can give some financial dimensions here in the header level so that it the financial dimensions you give in the header level can be applicable to the line level as well. So once they are applicable to the line level or same financial dimensions are copied to the product side accounts as well, you can also usually override it in the line level. For header means here you are giving it for vendor account. For the accounts payable account, you are giving dimensions here. Mostly they will be applicable to the lines also. But for lines again, you can override or change them if you want to. Okay, it does work in that way as well. So I'll just go to lines now. So this is what we have in the header level. That's all. These menus. So it is asking me update the dimensions for line levels as well. That's what the question is. I will say yes. The line level also copied on the same financial dimension values. So here is where we are back to the line level from the header level now. So this is a casual overview. Here it shows the purchase order header, normal header. But if we click in here, it will show more menus for the header. So it will just show the delivery details as well as the other details of the vendor. If there are any contact details from the vendor, you can select here. So I can close this one as well. So now we will be back to the line level. Here you can see line, the product. You can select the product, can select the quantity as well as the unit price and all details you can see here. If you want to add one more line, you can add here. If you want to add multiple lines, you can click on add lines here. Normally it goes to another purchase order from which we can copy the lines. If I click on add lines, usually it does it. So it is asking me to, if I want to add lines, it is asking me to pick which item to add line. So I'll select cycle again and I'll select one more item by clicking on add. I'll select item number again. So item number, I'll select rubber 2. If I click on OK. Purchase quantity it is asking. I'll say 1. Created for one product only actually. So you can see there is another line created here. So I can also remove this line from here by clicking on remove. Yes. Then I think add products also will normally work in the same way. It will give a filter and you can select a product, try it. And I have other options, purchase order line here. Here I have some options for credit note, copying the lines, so BOM number. So this is for this production. Supplementary items. In case if you have any supplementary items for this product, supplementary items are nothing but the additional products that we have to buy for the same. Suppose if you are buying a monitor, means keyboard and mouse will be the supplementary items. So the supplementary item setup is normally there in procurement and sourcing module. So once we are buying any product, if we associate any supplementary items to those product, that particular supplementary items also will be added to the order, because without those supplementary items, this particular buying this item is not required. So that's what system consider. So that's what we have. Those are the few things we have in purchase order line. I have this option of financials wherein distribute amounts is something I have. I will discuss this topic later. In case if you want to give charges to the specific item, you can give maintain charges here. Give specific charges to the one item, but we don't have any charge code set. Maybe our next class is to discuss on charge codes. So once we discuss on that, we can give the charge codes here, but I don't see any charge codes now, so it is empty. Other than that, if there are any sales tax, I can see the sales tax here for the particular line. If you have sales tax, if I click on this, it shows sales tax. But since I don't have any sales tax as of now, I don't see them. So other things I have are related to inventory. for product and supply. So most of them are supply chain related topics, product and supply and updating lines, work details, everything. So you might be mostly looking into this financials thing because it is into finance. The remaining rest of all menus and options are mostly for supply chain. So this is line. So here what we have is line details. So coming to bottom, I can see this line details. So related to this particular product that I have selected in line, I can select different criteria here. So I have a general menu wherein I can see the cycle, selected cycle details and all. Then I can see the setup where I can see the remaining details like on how it is there. State, province, sales tax groups and item sales tax groups I can see here. Then you can see the confirmed delivery date for this particular goods and all. Then I can see address once again. So to which particular address they are being delivered to. Then I can see product related things. So if we have any product dimensions, we have seen if you are selecting a product master, you can see this product dimensions here. Other than that, to which particular site and warehouse it is being delivered, you can see the details here. Then coming to delivery, I can see the delivery date, and in case if there is a over delivery and under delivery accepted, you can give that over delivery percent and under delivery percent here. And again, for accepting over and under delivery, we have to give some parameters in the procurement and sourcing module. Under delivery, over delivery means like if you have ordered 5 goods and if the vendor is sending 6 goods, do you want to, that is a over delivery, right? He's sending more goods. So if you want to accept it or not, you have to give parameters. And if he's sending under delivery means only sending 4 goods means you have to accept or not. Again, for that also you have to give a parameters. So you can give the percentage of under delivery and over delivery that you can accept here. And parameters again you have to give in the procurement and sourcing parameters. Okay. Then I have these details of picking. In case if it is being picked in the warehouse, so the barcode number and barcode setup is automatically done if I give the details here. Mostly they will be associated to the product. So once I select the product in the line, automatically that barcode details will appear here. So do you think that you have to understand is most of these activities or setups are related to supply chain here. But as a finance functional consultant, you have to understand the process of purchase order and the financial effects of the purchase order on the purchase order. Going further, if you want to learn supply chain as well, you can also learn all these aspects included in the purchase order. Okay, here I can see the prices and discounts. Normally in the line level we give the prices, right? So from the price unit is taking as one means for the price for 1 unit only it is considering here 1000. So if I multiply with the number of quantity, I can see the net amount here. And that's what it is saying. And these discounts and multi-line discounts are trade discount things. So you can create some setups for this trade discounts. This is a kind of situation where you can create some discount codes like, and not discount codes actually, trade discount related things, wherein if we are buying certain amount of goods from the vendor, you will get such percent of discount. This percent of discount, you can give those parameters by creating this discount codes. Again, this also falls into supply chain only, trade discount concept. Other than that, we have project. If at all any project is included in it, I can see those details. Project ID, project category and all. But I'm not using any project accounting and management process. So I don't see these details here. Then I have product packages. In case if there are any packages, you can see those details here. Variants I have, in case if I have product variants, I can see that, but I don't have any. Foreign trade, I'm not doing foreign trade. And this is one important aspect that you have to learn, fixed asset. So this actually we will discuss, compulsorily we'll discuss in the fixed asset module. It's like we can acquire a fixed asset through purchase order. The asset that we are buying here or the cycle we are buying here, we can create it as a fixed asset. Asset A acquire a fixed asset through a purchase order. This process, you can select one particular fixed asset which has to be created or acquired when you buy these goods. So this good that you buy here will automatically be taken as a fixed asset. So this is one of the process for acquiring fixed assets, which we will discuss in the fixed asset module. So other than that, we have 1099 tax, which is specific for US. Then I have financial dimensions in the line level. Here you can see the same financial dimension that we have given in the header level are copied down to the line level. You can see those details. If you want to change something here, you can change it without any problem. You can change it. But for the accounts payable account, system will use that particular dimensions. For the remaining accounts related to the item, like for the cost of goods sold or for the inventory related accounts, system will take this, not for the cost of goods, for the equal purchase account as well as the inventory account, system will consider the dimensions in the line level usually. If I am buying multiple products means, and if each product is having different financial dimension means, then I can select different financial dimensions. So accounting for those products will be done separately, or for those transactions of those accounts, the financial dimension will be picked separately. In the voucher, you can see the multiple lines. You can see if at all you are buying multiple products with different financial dimensions. So that's what we have in the line level mostly. In case if you are selecting a product master other than a product, you have to select that configuration, color and style details here in this particular menu. If you don't select them, system will throw error message. And you also need to select the site and warehouse. So this is also a compulsory selection. You can select it in the while you are creating purchase order, or you can also change them from here. If you want to change it, if you can change it back to warehouse number 12 now, 22 other than 11. Okay, it will automatically change in the line also. Here you can see somewhere it's not showing up in the line. Normally it shows up in the line level as well, site and warehouse. You can add those fields if you want to. These are the few general options we have in the various levels of purchase order. So other than that, I have few more options here in the top. So you can see this purchase order option here. You can see from a sales order. Normally you can create a purchase order from a sales order. So if there is an existing sales order, and if you do not have goods to deliver to that sales order, and if you are depending upon any vendor for buying of those goods for again selling them on this particular sales order, you can select this from a sales order option, so that the goods that you're buying here will directly be used for selling them to on this particular sales order. You can use that option. Other than that, you can see one option here, request change. Request change option is when you are using change management. If you want to make any changes on the confirmed purchase order, which is out of workflow, then you can click on request change and make those changes again on the purchase order. Otherwise, you can't make any changes. If you want to cancel the purchase order completely and you don't want it, you can cancel the purchase order here. So the status will be changed to cancelled. This is one we have. And another important one is this one, view totals. You can view the totals on the purchase order. If you click on view totals, it generally shows up a menu here in this corner with the total values of the purchase order. See, you can see purchase order totals. 5,000 is the total amount you have, subtotal amount 5 into 1000. Then you can see if there are any trade discounts involved. You can see here charges involved. You can see here sales tax involved. You can see here any round of numbers are there. You can see here after adding all these things or deducting these things, you can see the total amount here. And if there is any cash discount applicable, you can see here the percentage of discount and how much credit limit this vendor is having and how much credit limit is available on the date when you are doing this PO. You can see here. You can also see if there is any prepayment applied to this PO. We'll see that topic later in the same part. You can see those details here. How much prepayment is applied. I mean, how much limit is there and how much prepayment is applied currently. You can see Then the measurements you can see 5 quantity, and the weight and the CW quantity volume are not applicable because this product is having each, right? So if it is each means 5 quantity, one quantity each of total 5 quantity. You can see. So that's what I see in the total field. So other than that, in the purchase level, I can see credit note. So we will create this credit note later in our course. So maintain. So this credit note is normally nothing but a kind of return order. If we are going to return the goods, we will create credit note. So here I have some option called maintain charges and allocate charges. I can add the charges at the header level here. So earlier the option we have seen of charges here, maintain charges. This is only specific to one particular line. If I have multiple lines, I am the charges that I add here for one of the lines, selecting the line and adding charges here will be added to one particular line. But here, these charges will be added to total lines, all the lines in the header level. So some here you can see some kind of packing charges for this particular product. Here in the header level, the charges that you would add like transport charges. Suppose all these goods that you select here are sent through a particular means of transport to you, and those transport charges can be added here. So they are applicable to all the products, right? That we buy from the vendor. But packing charges are specifically applicable to one kind of product. So that is why packing charges we apply at line level, and at the header level we normally apply the transport charges or any other charges. So we will see this concept of charge codes also. So it's part of our course too. And if you have sales tax applied, you can see the total sales tax on the PO from here in this option. And if there are any trade discounts applied or supplementary items involved, I can see those details here. There is any prepayment, I can click on prepayment and add prepayment, and I can do a prepayment invoice. This is also part of our course. We'll see that too. Then I can see confirm option, and here I can see confirmation on pro forma confirmation. Pro forma confirmation is nothing but just like if at all we confirm it, how the order will look like, we can see in the pro forma confirmation. We also have a concept of pro forma invoice. It is where if at all I do invoice, how it will normally look like is the option we have to see. We can see that option with the pro forma confirmation or the pro forma invoice. So confirmation here is the actual confirmation. Here, if you click on confirms, order will be confirmed. Here also you can click on confirmation. Anything will work for confirming the purchase order. So this one. So other than that, the important one is distribute amounts. We'll see this topic later again, how we can distribute amounts of on this particular order. So I'm generating the confirmation. We have that option, right, to confirm. That is the next step. I'll click on this confirmation here, purchase and confirmation. So it takes a while to confirm. Click on OK. It will post a confirmation journal. So it doesn't post any financial impacts, but it just posts a kind of journal. That's all. So confirmation is posted, and you can see the order is changed to confirmed. So you can select either this confirm option or confirmation. Anything will work. Okay. Then I have this manage field where I can see the line amounts and I can see the budget details here in the manage field. Other than that, I can see this receive field where through which I can receive the product. I can post the product receipt. Here also I can see pro forma product receipt where I can see if at all I post a product receipt, how it would look like. I can, without posting product receipt, I can see from here by clicking on pro forma product receipt normally. But if I click on this normal product receipt, original product receipt will be posted. After posting it, this journal will be available. Once product receipt is posted, I can see the product receipt journal here where I can see the finance entry. Then I have the option of invoice where here I can see invoice and pro forma invoice as well. You can see I can create invoice from here, or I can see a pro forma invoice. Pro forma invoice nothing but a dummy invoice. If at all we create invoice, how it normally looks like, we can see here by clicking on pro forma invoice. So once after the invoice is posted, I can see the option here as invoice here, this under journals. If at all I just create invoice and leave it without posting, then I can see it as a pending invoice. Pending invoice on this particular purchase order can be seen here under pending invoices. This option will get enabled. If I just create invoice, give the number and all details, and if I don't post it, I can see it here in the pending invoices. If at all it is posted, I can see it under the journal here, this one, invoice. Invoice will become active here. If I click on that, I can see the posted invoice number and the voucher details. Then something related to retail. I'm not aware of all these things in the retail. So there is a link to retail module as well for the purchase orders. Then the warehouse, you have some load planning workbench for the warehouse when goods are being brought in, and some transportation details, route maps, and which way the goods has to be transferred. So all these are again related to supply chain. You can plan those things in the travel management, I think. So other than this, I have one with general where I can print, and I can also go to the trade agreements of the vendor, and I can also go create a case for this purchase order. Creating case, I told you I think earlier, you can create cases for a lot of situations. If there are any disputes with particular purchase order or any other journal, you can create case so that all the inquiry that is done on the case you can be recorded under case. So whoever will be following up normally understands what is the status of the case and what is the dispute and what is the result of it. So you can see all those details on cases if at all case is created. Other than that, I think those are the few options we have. We'll see more going further. Okay. So now I have confirmed this purchase order and I can see the status of the purchase order here. The confirmation status is changed to confirmed. So what is the next step? If at all I'm receiving the goods, so what do we do here in this PO? Come on, yes, anyone? So what is the next step on this purchase order if at all we are receiving the goods? Yesterday we have discussed it. So here we have first is confirmation. So we have confirmed it already. Next, if at all we are receiving the goods, the concept is that post the product receipt on receiving the goods. So if you are receiving the goods, we have to post the product receipt. So where is the product receipt? Saideep, where I can see the product receipt?
Warehouse. In
No, it's not in warehouse. Yes, Saideep.
invoice.
In invoice, we normally do the invoice. See, remember this hierarchy. First confirmation is here in the purchase menu. Okay. Next is receive. Next is invoice. So receive, under receive we have product receipt
Product.
through which we can receive the goods. So remember this. First is purchase, receive, and then invoice. Okay. Both are in order. Three of them are in order. So now we have to click on receive and post the product receipt. You can see this option of generate product receipt. Click here on product receipt. You can give that product receipt number here, which is compulsory here. So PRN 42, you can give something like that, any number that is given by the vendor on delivery of the goods. And when you are receiving the goods, product receipt date and the which explains the goods receipt date. So I'm receiving goods on Monday. So assume that I am doing the product receipt also on Monday. So when once I receive the goods, I am adding it here, product receipt date. Then I can see the line here, purchase order, 5 quantity, 1 unit, and I can see 5,000. Suppose assume that on the 11th I am receiving only 3 goods. Okay, only 3 goods I am receiving. So then what I'll do is I'll change this quantity back from 5 to 3. because I am receiving only three goods, right? Two goods are still pending. Vendor doesn't have stock on that day, so he sent only three goods. He will send the remaining two goods later. So I'm selecting only three quantity and I click on OK. So let us see what happens. So it is posted, but I can still see the status is in open order. Why the status is still showing as open order? Normally when we receive the goods, status should show as received, right? Any idea why it is still showing as open order or any guess?
It's a partial GRN, right?
Correct. The goods that we have received are partial. There are we only received three goods, right? So there are two goods all still pending on this particular purchase order which we have to receive. So that is why it is still showing as open order. Remember the point, when we receive the goods on the purchase order completely, then only we can see the status changing back to received. Until then it will still show as open order only. Now where we can check the product receipt that is posted for the three goods? What is the navigation from here? Anyone? Where can we check the product receipt that was posted? Okay, it's same here again under receive only. I told you under journals we have product receipt getting activated here. Product receipt journal you can see. Once it is posted, the financial impact you can see here under product receipt. Click on product receipt and you can see the product receipt number here, PRN42, which was posted for 11th of October. The goods of three goods were delivered on 11th of October, right? You can see here. If you want to print it, you can print it from here. Copy preview or original preview, or use print management to print it through a printer. You can use this. If you want to see the original preview, you can click here and it will load on the screen. Takes a while actually, since this is the first print of the day. It's loading. So I can see this product receipt is printed here. You can see item number, description, cycle, ordered 5 quantity, received 3 quantity, remaining quantity is 2. Just for a overview sake, it is printed. And you can see your address here, to which address these goods are being delivered. Not actually, it's a normal company address. Then you can see the delivery address to which the goods are being delivered, purchase order number, packing slip number, internal product receipt number, which it is posting. So internal product receipt number is nothing but this number that it takes here, usually for the voucher, I think. The voucher is not showing up here. There is some technical issue regarding this. So okay, you can see the voucher that is being posted, financial voucher. Finished goods inventory is debited, or I mean, you can see this account sheet instead. Cost of purchase material received is debited, and purchase accrual account is credited. You can say inventory received is debited and purchase accrual is credited. So this is the financial entry. In interview, they will definitely ask you what is the entry you will get during the product receipt. So you have to say this entry. Financial entries in PO process. Receipt. You can say inventory received is debited and purchase accrual is credited. So this is the entry for product receipt. So we'll see the entry for invoice now. Okay, what happens when we do invoice? We'll see that. Before that, we'll do something else. So here you can see it is posted only for 3000. Any idea why it is posted only for 3000, where the PO order is for 5000?
We have changed the quantity, right?
Correct. We have received only the 3 quantity. So we can also receive the other 2 quantity that is available. So I assume that vendor also delivered that 2 quantity after 2 days. Okay, for that what we need to do is we have to post one more product receipt for the remaining quantity. So to post a product receipt, again you have to click on receive and you can click on product receipt. If all the goods on the purchase order are required, you don't see this option available. Product receipt will get disabled, just like this one. You can see it will get disabled. Okay, now it is still enabled because you have 2 more goods to be received from the vendor. So I again clicked on the product receipt. I can give the number again here, PRN 43 suppose, or PRN 42 by 2. You can say like number 2, delivery number 2 from the same product receipt, I can say, and being delivered on 13th. After 2 days of the earlier delivery, they are delivering the 2 goods. So you can see when I scroll down, you can see system automatically showing up the remaining quantity here, because on the given 5 goods in the purchase order line, you have already received 3, right? So it only shows another 2 goods that you want to receive. 2 into 1000, 2000 is the line amount. You can click on OK. If you click on OK, it will post the product receipt on the second product receipt also automatically. So it is posted. Now, where can I check it if it is posted or not? What is the navigation I told you earlier, just a minute back?
Invoice.
No, not invoice.
Receive. Click on receive.
Yeah, it's on receive. Under journals, I can see product receipt. Now you can see this option here, generate product receipt is disabled because we have received all the goods on the purchase order already. So this option is no more available. And I can see the status of this order is changed to received. Earlier it was open order, right? Even after receiving 3 goods, now it is changed to received because we have received all the 5 goods on this PO. So I can click on receive here and I can see the product receipt under journals. So it normally posts financial entries, right? So I can see those 2 product receipts. This is the product receipt 42, and this is number 2 product receipt that was sent. And you can see the date goods were being delivered on 13th of October. And if you want to see the voucher for this, you can see here vouchers. And you can see voucher where the same accounts goods inventory received account is debited for 2000 and accrual purchase accrual account is credited for 2000. Same entry, right? Inventory received is debited, purchase accrual is credited. So for 2000, 2000, totally we have 5000. Come adding both the product receipts, we have it for 5000, right? So this is how we can create multiple product receipts on a purchase order. You can create as many product receipts as you want. If you have 10 goods to be received, you can create 10 product receipts, no problem. Okay. You can create any combination, but you can't create more than 10, right? I mean, if you cancel it, if you cancel one of it, you can create another one, no problem. But normally if you have 10 goods means you can only create one product receipt for one good, right? Usually. So that's how. So here there are 5 and I created 2 product receipt, 3 for 3 goods, 1 product receipt and another 2 goods. I have created 1 product receipt. Okay. So now the next step is invoicing the purchase order. So how do I invoice the purchase order? I have to click here on the invoice and I have to click on generate invoice so that the invoice will be generated. Okay, I'm just clicking on here invoice. See, we have 2 product receipts, but assume that vendor is sending a single invoice for both the product receipt. Means vendor send an invoice to the business place for all the 5 goods at a time. I mean, includes all the 5 goods in the invoice, one invoice itself. Then I can create a single invoice only for both the product receipt we have received, right? So for 5 quantity, I can create a single invoice automatically. So system would normally consider the same. So here you can see for the 5 quantity, system considers the invoice. I'll show you how it considers. So I'll just give an invoice number here like MS invoice, MS PO invoice 12. I just give the number. Then I'll give an invoice date. Suppose assume that they are sending the invoice on 15th or dated it on 15th. I can select it. Posting date also I can say they change it back to 15. Okay, and I can see the due date is changed to automatically 15th of November. So because for this vendor, I think they have terms of payment as the same, the net 30 days, I think. So automatically it changed. So in the line level, I can see total 5 quantities being considered here. 5 quantity, 5 into 1, 5000. So that is because of the option we have here, default from product receipt quantity. See, you can select default from any quantity. You can select default from ordered quantity, normally registered quantity, product receipt quantity. So ordered quantity means if you do not do any product receipt, if you click on ordered quantity, whatever the lines we have in the purchase order, automatically the same will be adding up here. But we have done product receipt, right? So the product receipt quantity will be picked, but we have done product receipt for all the 5 quantity again. So if I select product receipt quantity here, system will automatically pick all the 5 here. If you want to do 2 separate invoices, assume that vendor is sending 2 separate invoices for 2 product receipts separately. So for that you have another option. You have the option here, match product receipts, right? If you click here, you can see 2 product receipts here. Both of them are selected for the purpose of invoicing. But if you want to do only one product receipt, invoice only one product receipt, then you can deselect the other one. Here I have taken off this selection. I have selected only one product receipt. You can see here 3 quantity product receipt I have selected. Then I'll click on OK. So it is asking matching quantity does not balance with invoice quantity. Do you want to update the invoice quantity and delete any invoice lines that are no longer have matched quantities for all imbalanced lines? It is saying, do you want to reframe the invoice according to the selected criteria of product receipts here? Since earlier it have given the criteria for 2 product receipts, right? Now we have selected only one product receipt. So accordingly, system will consider according to this product receipt. So I'll click on yes. Now see on the invoice line, this is the invoice line. The quantity is suddenly changed back to 3 and 3 into 1 I can see 3000. So the invoice is being done only for one product receipt or particular product receipt. So accordingly you can do invoices. If vendor is sending you multiple invoices according to the product receipt, you can create multiple invoices for the PO. But if he's sending only single invoice for all the total goods, you can do a single invoice. So in this scenario, we will assume that he's sending a single invoice for the product receipt that we have received for the 5 product that we have received, and we'll do a single invoice. So for that, I'll again click on match product receipts option here. I'll select both the product receipts once again here. 3 plus 2, 5 quantity, and I'll click on OK. Since both of them are selected, again it gives me a pop-up. Do you want me to reconstruct the invoice? Yes, I'll say. And the invoice amount will again change back to 5. So because we have considered both the product receipt for invoicing process. In this manner, you can invoice in any way, like each for according to the product receipt you can invoice, or again you can also do multiple invoices for a single product receipt if you want, or if vendor is giving in such a way, then you can do multiple invoice also. For that you can change the quantity here from 5 to, if you want to do invoice only for one quantity, you can select one quantity here by removing 5. So these examples we'll see further how we can create multiple invoices for single purchase order, or how we can create single invoice for multiple purchase orders. We'll see those all details going further scenarios we have. Okay, so I can see the match status is not performed yet. I can click on update match status. Then it will show as passed here. Once after it is passed, I can post it. So before posting this invoice, I will also like to show you some other details in the header level and line level of the invoice. More or less same like purchase order header details, you will have invoice header details. Okay, just collapse them. So collapse all, I'll select actually. So here I can see more or less like same like purchase order details. I can see invoice also have a header. So vendor number, invoice description, other details of dates and all you can see here. You have this option of on hold, means if you keep it on hold, nobody can post this invoice. So you might have kept it on hold for someone's so and so reason, like if something is mismatched or there is something else that has to be included. So that's why you kept on hold. Later, if you remove hold, you can post it once again, but once kept on hold, you can't post it. So you have this option, yes or no on hold. There are any mismatches or disputes with the invoice, you can keep it on hold temporarily, and once after clearing everything, you can post it. You can clear this flag to no and you can post it. That's what important option we have. And you can see the purchase order number for this invoice, as well as you can see product receipt number is showing as multiple because we have multiple product receipts right here. If you have only one product receipt, it generally shows the number here. Since we have two product receipt, it is showing as multiple. That's all. Then approval. So it is approved already. So since as I told you, right, the requester details are linked to my login user details. So automatically the employee name will appear here and it show as approved automatically. Then I can see some setup where I can see this posting profile and currency details. So none of them can be editable here. You can't edit anything. This defaults from the purchase order level. And payment here you can give net terms of payment. Actually it is taking from purchase order. In purchase order we gave net 15 days, right? From there it is taking, but I'm unsure why it is taking this 15 November as the due date. Normally we gave the invoice date as 10th, right? 10th of 15th of September. So it should normally take 15 days, right? I mean the end of October should be the due date. So you can give it manually. If you feel to give it, I'll just give it as 31st of October. Method of payment, check. Okay. Bank account I can see here automatically. This bank account is a vendor bank account. For this vendor, we have created a bank account while we were creating this record. So that vendor bank account details are here automatically. Then payment disbursement is something I can see here. This menu I can add some details. Like if the vendor is having multiple bank accounts, suppose ICICI plus HDFC, two bank accounts, I can add here how much payment has to be done to which bank. So for ICICI one, I can do 100% payment I can give, or for ICICI one, I can do 50% payment. For HDFC one, I can do 50% payment. Or if I have multiple bank accounts for the vendor, so this is a vendor bank account, not our bank account. Keep that point in mind. Then I can give through to which bank how much I have to pay. I can allocate here just for the payment reference sake. But if you don't want, you can change it back. Address, the warehouse address to where the goods have been delivered. And you can see the remittance location here. Remittance location is nothing but the vendor's remittance address, but I don't have any remittance address, I think, for this vendor, so I can't see it here. During payment, we'll try to check. So purchase order, you can see the purchase order number here. And foreign trade, in case if there are any foreign trade, we don't have any, so it's disabled. Financial dimensions would eventually populate from the purchase order level. You can see these financial dimensions in the invoice header, the same that are coming from the purchase order header level. Other than this, one second. Other than this, we have this line level details again. Just if I click on lines, I can see the normal details the same way. Like in the line details, you can see file quantity, price and all, purchase order number, match status, what it is passed. If there are any budget errors, yes, you can see here. You can see setup where you can see the sales tax groups and items, sales tax countries and person addresses. Product, in case if you have any product variants, you can see your size, style and configuration. All these details normally will be picked from the purchase order level only. One second, guys. Then I have prices and discounts. So all these details also will not automatically populate from the purchase order level. Project details, any foreign trade details if I have, fixed asset number. So normally fixed asset number, if you miss to give it in the header level, sorry, in the purchase order level, so you can also give the fixed asset number here normally for acquisition. So again, this concept also we'll see in the fixed asset module. So I'll explain you in detail about how we can acquire fixed asset through purchase order, or at the level of invoice, how we can link a purchase order. Then we have financial dimensions here again. So these are the few details we have on the invoice level. So before posting it, I just want to show you those. So you have seen this option already, match product receipt. Match product receipt option. Earlier we have seen it where we can select or deselect the product receipt. Update match status, we normally use it for matching the prices and quantity from the purchase order level, product receipt level to the invoice level. Normally, so if the price that is selected here is same as purchase order or not, or if the quantity that is selected is same as the product receipt that is being selected here or not, we can see. Suppose if I change the unit price here to, assume that I change the unit price here to 900, then 1000. If I click on update match status now, it shows it is not performed. If I click on update match status once again, let me see. It is showing as passed because we do not use any rules actually. If there are any three-way matching and two-way matching rules, and if it fails in the validation, normally it shows it is as failed. But I think in the accounts payable parameters, we have to enable them. For that, we need to take a separate class actually, because it's a very important topic, the matching rules. So here we don't have that matching rules enabled, so system is showing it as passed automatically. So once after changing it, again it change back to not performed, and we might have to click on this once again to perform the match status. You can also see the totals of the invoice before posting. So you can see all the details. What is the subtotal? 5,000. And if you have any discounts, you can see here charges, sales tax, round of amounts. You can manually give if you want any discounts and round of amounts here. So these both the fields are maintainable, and you can also give a cash discount amount if anything applicable. Then you can give a cash discount date manually. You can see these details here. Then you can close this. There are some other details in the vendor invoice level where I can apply prepayment. This is one of the next topic we will discuss, application of prepayment invoices. Other than that, we have process where we can print it, and we have review where in case I was saying, right, there will be some matching rules in case that fails in the matching. So how we can review and go beyond it, or how we can change that, we can see here in the review process. Other than that, we have financials where we can distribute amounts or maintain charges or add additional charges compared from purchase order to the invoice level, and where we can also add additional taxes if there are any in the sales tax. Okay, so we'll mostly cover all of them further. I mean, how to check these failures and how to add charges in the invoice level again if you miss in the purchase order level. So I can post it now. So let me close this. I see an error message. I see an error message because a critical error has occurred in function inventory. Oh, let me connect charger. It seems like a bug for me. Inventory cost input amount, get ledger dimension from distribution. What is this? 1 second, guys. Let me give this account in the item group and let me check it if this works. Inventory management, item group, inventory, and inventory item groups. So we have this item group test, right? So in this, I'll give this account purchase expenditure for product. I think we have raw material receipts account. I think this one. Let me save this. Go back. See, this invoice is not posted, right? Now, once if it fails, it will automatically take me to the purchase order level. See, we are at the purchase order level now. So if we want to find the invoice that was created and pending, which was not posted or which we were unable to post it earlier, you can see here under invoice. See, this option pending invoices is active, which means there are some pending invoices on this particular purchase order. That is nothing but the invoice that we have created and we were unable to post. So this one, MSPOI 12. So if you want to edit it, click on edit. So match saying that match status is not performed. I can click on update match status once again. So it is for same 5 quantity, 1000 and 5000. It's passed and now I can post it. Let me see if I face error message again. Again, I see the error message. Critical error has occurred in function invest cost input amount. Get ledger dimension value for distribution. So it seems like a bug for me. I mean, it doesn't show a relevant error message for the situation. Yesterday, when we have done the same kind of process, it is showing it posted automatically, right? So, but it is showing some failure of invoice here. We'll see what is this error message, or we'll try to create a new PO tomorrow and do an invoice again. Okay. So seems most into something like in the supply chain side. We'll try to check what this error message is. I think that would be all for today's class. tomorrow again we'll meet up for discussion of various scenarios with purchase orders and product receipts and invoices. How to create multiple invoices or how to create single invoice for multiple POs. We will see that process tomorrow. Okay, not tomorrow, from Monday. That would be all, guys. If you have any doubts, you can stay back. If not, I'll just stop the recording here and